There are two things that I can say with almost certainty. One is that at some point in time, you were trained to use this thing. And two is that you almost certainly could be doing it way better. And I'll prove it on this episode of One for the Road. Back in school, and hopefully in the occasional CE class, you were trained to utilize the bag valve mask to help breathe for an apneic patient. It's an essential skill, possibly one of the most critical interventions that we perform. So why is it that so many of us do it poorly? I think there are a lot of reasons for that. First is, it's a difficult device to use. It really is. Human faces are soft and fleshy. Unconscious heads want to slide into a neutral position and jaws want to push backwards. And you add to that a little bit of adrenaline, and more often than not, we end up just pushing down and squeezing hard. Two of the worst things that you can do for someone that needs a nice breath of air. So let's fix all that. What does really solid BVM technique look like? First, I think it starts with an understanding that this is not a one-person device. Yes, there is a way to use it with only one person, and we get this idea in our head that that means it is made for one person, and it's really not. If there are two people available, having one person seal the mask to the face, using two thumbs on the mask and their fingers behind the jaw, pulling it up, finding that nice head position, and then allowing a second person to deliver that nice breath right on time, that's the ideal way to do it. And while we learn that it is a two-person device, how many times have you been on a scene where there's somebody behind the airway person holding a clipboard or holding up an IV? Let that person get in there and help out with the BVM. So the other one I want to talk about is EC technique, right? Good EC technique. And what I mean by that is like the fingers that go on the mask form a nice C, and the rest of the fingers form an E around the jaw. When we're doing EC technique well, it's the pinky and the thumb that should be pushing towards each other, right? The E pulls on the jaw while the C pushes down on the mask. So it's kind of a strange claw squeezy kind of technique. It's awkward, but that's the best way to seal that mask to the patient's face. If you're doing EC technique and all the pressure's going in the same direction, that's not proper technique. Let's also talk about head position. The patient's head is going to want to slide into a neutral position, and we know that's not where we want it. That hand that's out there doing those nice gentle breaths on the bag, that's a great hand to use to just readjust that patient's head in between breaths to make sure we're finding that correct position. And lastly, my favorite one, airway adjuncts. If you're using a BVM and the patient isn't intubated or we don't have an eye gel in, you've got to be using airway adjuncts. It's almost impossible to use this well without some OPA or NPA help. And those aren't just one and done. If you drop an OPA and it's working for you, try dropping an NPA. If you've got one NPA in and you feel like you want a little bit more help, it's okay to put a second one in. You can use multiple airway adjuncts to help you get that air into the right place. So that's it. When you have it available, get some help with the BVM. Use that good EC technique if you don't have any help. Monitor that head position in between breaths and use all the air adjuncts that you need. And before you know it, you're going to find beautiful chest rise and fall. Hey, what are your best techniques when you're using a BVM? What do you feel is the essential advice? Before you leave or click away, go down to the comments section and let us know what you think. I hope your patient breathes easier, and I'll breathe easier as well. Hey, thank you for watching. I'm Steve Whitehead, and that was One for the Road.